The Tibetan Book of Living and Dying was written by Sogyal Rinpoche, a Tibetan Lama, teacher, and author who was one of the most influential figures in introducing Tibetan Buddhism to the West. The book is a spiritual guide that draws on ancient Tibetan wisdom and teachings to help readers understand the nature of life and death and how we can live more fully by understanding both. It combines the author's personal experiences with Buddhist teachings, giving insight into how we can approach the final stages of life with peace and awareness, as well as how we can use this knowledge to live more mindfully every day. The book is based on the Tibetan Buddhist tradition, where death is seen as a natural part of life, not something to be feared. Sogyal Rinpoche uses the teachings of the Tibetan Lamas, including his own teacher, to explore how we can face our mortality with acceptance and even joy. The teachings he shares are meant to guide people through the whole journey of life, from birth to death, with a focus on mindfulness, compassion, and spiritual awakening. The main idea is that death is not an end, but a transition, and that our attitude toward it can greatly influence our experience of life. The book begins by explaining the Buddhist understanding of death and its relationship to the nature of life. Sogyal Rinpoche writes that life and death are inseparable and that we cannot fully understand one without the other. In Tibetan Buddhism, death is viewed not as a moment of finality, but as part of a continuous process that includes rebirth. The book discusses the importance of recognizing death as something that can happen at any time, which encourages readers to live with more awareness and intention. Sogyal Rinpoche then moves on to discuss the teachings on the bardo, the intermediate state between death and rebirth. According to Tibetan Buddhism, when a person dies, their consciousness enters the bardo, a state where they experience vivid and often intense spiritual visions and challenges. These experiences are said to be influenced by the person's thoughts, actions, and feelings during their life. The book teaches that understanding the bardo and how to navigate it can help a person achieve a better rebirth or even attain enlightenment. It is during this period that spiritual practices and guidance are particularly crucial. The book also delves into the practice of dying well. This idea may seem strange to some, but in Tibetan Buddhism, it is believed that how we die can have a profound effect on our spiritual journey. Sogyal Rinpoche emphasizes the importance of preparing for death throughout life, which means living in a way that nurtures inner peace and wisdom. This preparation can include practices such as meditation, prayer, and connecting with spiritual guides. Dying well, according to the book, is about letting go of attachment, fear, and suffering, and instead embracing the unknown with courage and calmness. In this part of the book, the author offers a deep exploration of the Tibetan practice of phowa, or the transference of consciousness at the time of death. This practice, he explains, involves training the mind to leave the body at the moment of death and enter into a higher realm of spiritual existence. While this concept may sound mysterious or even difficult to understand, it is explained in a way that readers can grasp, providing them with tools to make peace with the idea of death. As the book progresses, it shifts from the specific teachings about death to more general advice on how to live a meaningful and mindful life. Sogyal Rinpoche discusses the importance of meditation and mindfulness as ways to connect with the present moment. These practices help us become more aware of our thoughts and emotions, allowing us to live with less attachment and more compassion. By practicing mindfulness, we can begin to see the impermanent nature of life and stop clinging to things that cause suffering. In addition to meditation, the book emphasizes the role of love and compassion in living a meaningful life. Sogyal Rinpoche stresses that compassion is not only about being kind to others, but also about being kind to ourselves. This means letting go of judgment and cultivating a sense of understanding toward ourselves and others, especially in difficult situations. The author talks about how practicing compassion can ease suffering and create a sense of connection with others, no matter their background or beliefs. Throughout the book, Sogyal Rinpoche weaves in stories and teachings from his own life and experiences, sharing lessons learned from his time with his teachers and in his own spiritual practice. These stories are simple and relatable, making the teachings easy to understand and apply. They remind readers that no matter how difficult life may seem, there is always hope, peace, and a way to grow spiritually. One of the central themes in the Tibetan Book of Living and Dying is the idea of impermanence. Sogyal Rinpoche teaches that everything in life is in a constant state of change, and this includes our bodies, our thoughts, and our relationships. He explains that by accepting the impermanence of life, we can begin to live more fully and let go of the fear and anxiety that often come from trying to hold on to things. This acceptance is key to living with peace and joy, as it allows us to embrace each moment as it comes. Another important concept explored in the book is the idea of spiritual teachers and guides. In Tibetan Buddhism, having a teacher is considered crucial to one's spiritual development. Sogyal Rinpoche explains how a teacher's guidance can help us navigate the difficulties of life and death. A teacher, or lama, offers not only knowledge but also the presence and wisdom to help us make sense of the challenges we face. The book also emphasizes the relationship between student and teacher as one of mutual respect and love, where the teacher helps the student see beyond their limitations and realize their true nature. The book ends by offering advice on how to help others who are approaching death. Sogyal Rinpoche explains that our role is not to fear death, but to offer support, love, and guidance. In Tibetan Buddhism, there are specific prayers and rituals that can help the dying person move through the process of death with more peace. The author also talks about the importance of being present for the dying, and how simply being with them in silence or offering kind words can make a great difference in their experience of dying. Overall, the Tibetan Book of Living and Dying is a guide to living a life of awareness, compassion, and spiritual growth. It teaches readers that by understanding death, we can learn to live more fully and more consciously. By practicing mindfulness, meditation, and compassion, we can find peace in both life and death. The book offers a profound understanding of life's impermanence and how, by embracing this, we can create a life that is more meaningful and fulfilling. It is a call to live with awareness, to embrace each moment, and to approach death with peace, knowing that it is simply a transition, not an end. Through its teachings, readers are invited to explore life with deeper insight and to approach both living and dying with an open heart and mind.